Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video we're basically going to be sitting down and talking about new makeup releases and whether or not I want them and why. This is called a Will I Buy It video, and this video concept is inspired by the one that my fellow YouTuber Samantha also does on her channel. She came up with this video series concept, and I, along with a whole bunch of other creators, love doing it. I post mine every single Sunday. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, like new makeup releases, just know that I publish these kinds of videos every single Sunday. With that being said, we have a lot to talk about, and spoiler alert, there's not much in here that I'm interested in, if at all. I feel like this is kind of a dry week, kind of like last week, but I feel like it's gotten worse. So today's video is going to be a lot of roasting. Let's just get into it. I feel like a good place to start off with would be with this launch right here from Urban Decay. They are launching a new Naked Honey palette. This is a palette that is quite lacking in my opinion. In big part because I feel like I only know the theme because they literally told it to me. It says so on the packaging. The theme is honey. We're supposed to believe, or we're supposed to look at this palette and think, honey. I don't think it's a honey palette because it literally, oh my gosh, it's literally so boring. It's just, no. I feel like in this case, a palette that would look more honey-esque would be the ColourPop Honey palette. But this just looks like another one of the Urban Decay Naked palettes. They just switched up a few of the shades. Why are they doing that? I don't know. At this point, I feel like Urban Decay, I feel like they need to sort of reinvent their Naked line, or at least stop releasing so many items within that line. I, for one, am really interested in what they can do on a more creative level. Not to say that this isn't creative, but I just think that right now the Naked line is so overplayed. Everyone already knows about it, and I feel like it would be great for Urban Decay if they would launch something that's a little bit different than what people expect them to come out with, because at this point we all expect Urban Decay to launch more Naked palettes, and I don't think people are getting as excited about those Naked palettes as before. In fact, people are decluttering those Naked palettes like crazy if they even have them left. So I'm not into this whatsoever. I'm not interested. Moving on, let's talk about Shiseido. Now, they are launching a variety of skin, well, not skin, but face products. They have a Syncro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation with SPF 30. This is described as a weightless foundation that synchronizes with skin and self-refreshes non-stop for a just applied look and flawless finish. It's supposed to have a medium coverage with a natural finish, and it's supposed to come in 30 shade, $47 each. Then they also have a Syncro Skin Self-Refreshing Concealer, can't read, and a Hanatsubaki Hake polishing face brush, a Syncro Skin Invisible Skin Loose Powder. I'm very curious about this concept of self-refreshing. Obviously, we all know that I would say first hour that you apply foundation is always the hour that your foundation looks best in. Of course, there might be some exceptions, but for me, I definitely know that whenever I put on foundation, it looks better in the first hour than it does, say, in 4 hours. And I think that if this foundation is indeed self-refreshing, that would be amazing. That would, in fact, be quite interesting to find out if it actually works, if this concept actually works. I would be interested in seeing people's reviews. I don't think I'll be getting this myself. I actually have no interest in getting this myself. Why? Because it's just simply like, it's just a foundation, it's a concealer, it's a powder, and it's a brush that I do not necessarily need nor care for. I do like how they included SPF 30 in the foundation. I hope that more brands are going to be doing that, because now more than ever we're being told that SPF is really important for your skin, and I think it's a great concept to bring out foundations, or to bring out more foundations with SPF embedded within the formula. Now I want to talk about the Boing Cakeless Concealer by Benefit Cosmetics. This is described as a multi-purpose full coverage liquid concealer that hides it all, from dark under eye circles to blemishes to discoloration. The formula includes algae-derived ingredients known for smoothing the look of skin and specially coating pigments that leave a natural finish that doesn't flake or crease, in 12 shades, and this is going to be $22 each. First of all, the packaging. The packaging is like okay. I guess they're going for like that back to school theme. I did not necessarily care for it. I think it's fun, but I just don't really. I'm not too interested. I am, however, very happy that they're releasing a mini size. I do think that it's a good idea for brands to launch more mini sizes, because A, it's a discounted rate, so the consumer saves money, and B, less product is wasted, because I do not think it's that easy for every single person to use up a concealer that quickly before it expires. So having a mini for somebody who just wants to try it out, see how they like it, is a great idea. I do think that the shade range is incredibly lacking, and I don't understand why at this point. Like, seriously, why? Like, if you spent less money on the packaging and more money on actually formulating a good shade range, not just shades, a range of shades, I would be so much more satisfied. We're getting a little bit of a sneak peek from a few brands with regards to their holiday makeup collections. I feel like every single year they start doing holiday earlier and earlier, and right now summer's ending and holidays coming, it seems, and we have a little bit of a sneak peek from several brands. We have a Too Faced Christmas Star holiday palette that they're sneak peeking. We also have a little bit of Benefit Cosmetics, Kylie Cosmetics, Makeup Revolution, It Cosmetics, Smashbox Cosmetics. It seems that these brands are going to be releasing anything from sets to palettes. And I will say that if there's anything that you should be getting, in my opinion, that you should be getting from holiday releases, it would be sets, because holiday makeup is typically discounted, especially if you have a gift set. For example, I think that by Beauty, they do a holiday thing in which they have mini sizes of, I would say, 3 shades of like a lipstick, for example, and those minis are priced at, I would say, $20 or so. You get a pretty healthy amount of product, you get a pretty good range of shades, and you get to try out a new formula, and it's around the price of a full-size bite lipstick, when you're really getting 3 shades of that lipstick, albeit in a little bit of a smaller format. So I personally love holiday mini sets, and I think that this holiday I might just try and get a few sets if I like them. But yeah, I don't know if any of this is actually jumping out at me. I'm not that interested in Kylie lip products. I'm not too interested in the Too Faced palette. It looks kind of boring to me. And so far this is just not interesting to me whatsoever, but who knows, maybe closer to the holidays we'll try and we might see something more interesting. Next, we have the eyesore that is known as the BH Cosmetics Zodiac series. Good grief. This is the Virgo Zodiac palette, those little like tiny palettes that BH Cosmetics has been launching for every new zodiac sign. Now it's Virgo, and I'm sorry, Virgos, if you guys are color lovers, you are set to be disappointed, because this is neutral city. Like, they just included one green, and then everything else is either like a gold, an orange, or like a lackluster neutral. And I feel like in the swatches, they're trying to like pass these off as super pigmented, as super just like fun and reflective. But it's just, when you look at the actual palette, it looks boring, and I'm not interested in this whatsoever. Like, this is just boring, and I'm not into it. Euphoria is an American TV show that has been getting a lot of attention, and some of the attention has been directed at the makeup looks worn in the show. And something that you will notice if you look at the characters from the show is that a lot of these characters wear a lot of glitter. And Lemonhead decided to get onto that Euphoria train and basically release a selection of their space pastes. And apparently, these space pastes were worn by the characters on the show. So you have Houdini, worn by Jules and Rue. Mulholland, worn by Maddie. Private School, worn by Cassie. Groupie is worn by Rue. And then they also have Silver Lake, which is inspired by Nate. Electric Days, inspired by Jules. And this entire collection is going to be $75. See, here's the thing. If I had $75 to spend on glitter, I definitely would spend it on this collection. Lemonhead is one of my favorite brands for glitter, just point blank period, and I feel like I literally want to buy every single one of their glitters. However, they are a little bit more expensive. I definitely suggest getting them when they are on sale, which doesn't happen very often, but say around Cyber Monday, Black Friday, that's when I got mine. Looking at the picture, it does appear that some of these shades are on the smaller size spectrum. That makes no sense. Some of these shades are smaller. I believe that there's one full size in this, but I will say that whenever you have like a Lemonhead space paste, it is really difficult to actually get through it. I use mine so often and I've barely made a dent, and I use it like all the time, so it's gonna take a while for you to get through just one of these. I will say that the only thing I don't like about this launch is that you cannot buy these individually. It appears that you can only buy the $75 set and that's it, which I wish that you could just buy like one or two shades at a time, you know? I wish you didn't have to spend that boatload of cash on the entire thing, because not everyone might like every single shade in here. Next up, I would like to talk about this collaboration with Jeffree Star and Morphe. I meant to mention this in last week's video. I just overlooked it, honestly. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. This collection includes a 30-pan artistry palette for $35. They also have a mist, a 10-piece eye brush collection, and also a sponge trio. I can't really say much about the brushes. They look decent. I don't really care if they're pink, if they're purple, if they're blue. I don't care. They're brushes. The mist, I've tried the Morphe mist, and I like it. It's not a bad mist. The nozzle is great. Not too interested. The palette, oh boy. The palette, it's just, I don't... See, okay. I did a video on this palette. I basically did a look inspired by this palette, and it is currently up on my channel. I personally am in love with that look. It was so pretty, in my personal opinion. And I basically created it using shades already in my collection, but I created it inspired by this palette. In my personal opinion, this palette is just... it's just so boring. I feel like they wanted to make it fun by making it like pink and green. Apparently it's a strawberry theme. I don't know what kind of turquoise and hot pink strawberries are floating around, but apparently that's the theme. Also, I feel like there's just so much going on in this palette that is very difficult to digest. For me, what draws me is that pink and that turquoise and a few other shades, but then again you have like so many neutral shades as well. Like, it's just overwhelming, and I think that they would have done better by just editing it down. Also, here's the other point I want to make. I'm very confused as to why Jeffree Star would collaborate with Morphe on an eyeshadow palette when he already has his own brand that launches eyeshadow palettes that everyone really, really loves. I'm just confused why he would feel the need to launch another eyeshadow palette with Morphe when In my personal opinion, this eyeshadow palette does not look nearly as good as the eyeshadow palettes that he has in his own personal makeup brand. So I'm confused as to why either Morphe or Jeffree Star thought that this would be a good idea for a collaboration, because why is he collaborating with Morphe to release something that is far from groundbreaking? Maybe Morphe just wants to get a cash grab and they want to go for Jeffree Star. Sure. I'm just not into it. Next up, let's talk about Marc Jacobs. The brand is launching a glam rock collection. This is a limited edition. Now, this will include a sequins glam glitter eyeshadow formula. This will be going for $28 each. They have several shades. They also have an enamored dazzling glossy lip lacquer, which is going to go for $28 per unit. What else? They have a Omega Glaze All Over Foil Luminizer, $49. For a minute, I was wondering what that was, but then I was like, oh wait, no, that's a highlighter. When luxury brands like to come up with like new names for generic makeup items. For example, highlighter is an all over foil luminizer. Seriously though, this looks like a decent collection. There's nothing here that I am absolutely obsessed with. I am mildly interested in the lip glosses or the lip lacquers, but I will say that I am so surprised that the highlighter is $49. $49 for a highlighter. I think that it's probably going to be a pretty large pan of highlight, but $49 for a highlighter seems a little bit much. Moving on though, let's talk about Smashbox. Now, Smashbox has these cover shop palettes that they keep releasing. Now they have two new ones. They have a denim one, which is going to be a versatile neutral palette with cool tones, inspired by denim, of course, and then a palette inspired by the desert with warm, earthy shades that evoke the California desert. If they took the greens and the blues from each palette and molded it into one palette, I would kind of be interested in it, but I have to admit, I haven't seen much good feedback about these cover shop palettes. In fact, a lot of people say that they don't like these cover shop palettes, that for some reason the formula is bad. So I'm not interested. These are going to be $29 each, by the way. Something that I am mildly interested in is this new launch from e.l.f. This is going to be an Earth and Ocean palette, and it's going to include 18 shades, and this is basically going to be retailing for $14. I like this a lot. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. It's a fun play on the blue-green kind of cool tone themes that we've been seeing lately, and I like it. I like this color story a lot. I might actually pick it up, or I might actually pick it up once I'm done with my no-buy. I have no idea when that will be. It's a cool palette, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to like gauge as to whether or not I actually need it, because I might have several similar shades in my collection. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think I have these shades in my collection. Some of these shades I do have, but a lot of these shades I don't. So let's put this on the maybe list. It's very difficult to get on the list, even more so to get on my wish list. Next up, let's talk about Kevyn Aucoin. This is called a foundation balm, which is going to be a full coverage foundation with an innovative silky balm texture. It includes a hyaluronic acid, which is supposed to hydrate the skin, antioxidant vitamin E, which is supposed to protect and condition skin, and avocado oil, which is supposed to support the skin barrier and protect against external damage. These are going to be $52 each, but then again, that is Kevyn Aucoin luxury pricing. They have 20 shades. I hope that the shade range is better than what they're showing here. If the shade range is better, why are they not showing this entire shade range in this photo? I'm confused. I have to say that I think that this is a makeup artist product. I don't see this being useful for somebody who, like me, is simply a makeup consumer. So this is not anything I'm going to be getting, especially since the price is so expensive. Also, I just have so many other foundations that I want to get through. So now I look at foundations and I find them pretty unappealing. This next palette is the Too Faced Palm Springs Dreams palette. This is a pretty recent reveal. This is inspired by Jared's like weekend in Palm Springs apparently, and he must have had a very vanilla weekend because that's exactly what this palette is to me. Vanilla. It's just neutral city. I cannot believe that they made the packaging so like fun. They have that magenta, they have that orange, and then the palette, it's just vanilla. It's like a desaturated mess. Like I'm not into this. If you're like me and you want to see a palette that's more colorful, I would suggest looking at yesterday's video. That was basically a video in which I completely redesigned this palette, and I love the redesigned version of this palette so much more than the actual one. That video will be in the cards. But yeah, I'm just not interested in this. I'm just not. It's just so boring. No. No, I just don't want it. No. I'm getting way too heated over this. Alright guys, that is pretty much the end of this video and the end of this week's Will I Buy It. There was definitely a lot of makeup to talk about, a lot of makeup to roast, more specifically. I'm not into these things. It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like seeing so much makeup every single week really compels me to be even more specific with what I do end up liking. And not gonna lie, I'm scrolling back at these launches, and there's not much, but I'm just not interested. I'm really not, and I don't know. I feel like it's very difficult, in my opinion, to come out with something that is really eye-catching these days. Yeah, today's video was kind of a dry spell, but honestly, I do think it's important to constantly remind ourselves that makeup at its core is something to be enjoyed, and if you don't see something that you like, if you don't see something that you absolutely love, actually, why get it? So, with that being said, that is the end of this video and the end of this week's Will I Buy It? If you're interested in seeing more from my channel, it is right down below, and I post every single day. My videos range from anything regarding Will I Buy It, and I also do really colorful makeup tutorials all the time. I also love just talking about makeup history, the makeup industry, the beauty industry, all that sort of fun stuff. My makeup channel is a little bit of a mishmash of different topics, so if you're interested in seeing it, it is down below, and I will also have included some recommendations in the cards, and there will also be videos at the end of this video that you can watch as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye guys.